LARPing. Today it's me, Sean Keys, with the one lady who's been here all month. Still smells fresh, Ann Stanford. Courtney Manor and Chris.
Don't sniff me.
I wasn't going to. I don't sniff guys. That guy. Chris Glover.
I'm Chris Glover.
Today we're going to talk about like a crazy character that you've
Yeah.
seen.
So the question is, what is a favorite character that you have played or seen played in a particular group? Courtney, lead us off.
Oh, I'm going to actually use one of my favorite D&D characters because I haven't had much experience in the LARPing area of roleplay because I'm getting into this, obviously. Mm-hmm. But my favorite character that I've played so far is my crazy druid shapeshifter named Teoriel. She's a beautiful little elf, and one of her things, she loves going into wolf form. Unfortunately, her clothes don't go with her. So half of the game time when she's in human form, she's either in just really simple scraps of cloth or nothing at all, depending on where she is. She's been really fun to play because she's a badass character. Can I say badass on camera? Or are we going to bleep that out?
I hope so.
No, we should be able to.
She's a badass character because she can get stuff done. She's smart, she's funny, she's got a wit to her that I just love playing.
Nice.
But she does have those moments where, to her, being naked is no big deal. She grew up in a tribe, the adopted daughter of the Wolfmaster, and just to her, being in nature is, I don't need clothes.
Outside of here at work, I've tried to initiate just no pants day, and apparently in the professional world, that's frowned upon. I don't know what it is.
She's along with you.
And tell me about a favorite character.
So I've played a lot of characters over the years. My current character is this that you see here.
Okay.
Her name is Rhiannon. She's a primitive warrior type. And she's really fun to play, especially when there's like great big monsters to kill. Because I'm a good fighter, and especially with the skills that I mentioned. Good fighter, and I can kick some butt, and I just really love it. It's so much fun. Other characters I've played, I got to roleplay being pregnant. Yeah, it was scary and awesome at the same time. With a past character, I made a little belly out of pillows, and it was very dramatic. My character died in childbirth, and yeah, the baby's father raised. It was amazing.
Beautiful.
Dystopia has really like dramatic soap opera-y kind of themes. Think like The Walking Dead or something like that. You know, very, very dramatic. Although I did it before they did it in The Walking Dead, so.
They must have molded it off of you.
Yeah, they obviously ripped it off from me.
You heard it here, folks.
And one of my other favorite characters is a couple of my friends that I roleplay with that are also primitives like me. My friend Allie Foxworthy, who plays Ziana, who's our priestess of the Tribe of the Seasons, and she has this beautiful costume, and she braids her hair every time, and makes up these amazing ceremonies, like religious ceremonies, and just gorgeous roleplay. Another friend of mine that plays a deputy for the town, he's great at making speeches.
Okay.
He will make speeches to these criminals and let them know why he is sparing their life when he could just plain execute them if he had to. Nice. And he makes these extremely dramatic speeches, and it's just hilarious. It's just great to follow him around and just watch him.
Sean, tell me about a favorite character.
Well, I've tried to do a bunch of D&D, and I've tried to do Planetfall. It's just none of those just act like myself. So really, there's nothing different that I could say.
Crazy
you
hairy
are your
guy.
character.
Yeah, crazy hairy guy, normal type of stuff. But there's like nothing.
Sean's no different off camera.
Nope.
No. What you see is what you get with him.
Yep. But
At
there's
least he's
like
cute.
nothing different about my characters. So, and as other characters, it's just how they are. It's how I see them, and it's just nothing really I can say about it right now.
For me, I had a character. Well, I've had a couple of them that I've really liked playing. Some of them that one was far more high energy than I can do as an old fat man. his name was Malaclips, even younger than was once thought, which is the name similar taken off of some of the folks from some other books and things. And basically, he was crazy. I played Amp Guard, so it was just a combat sort of a character, and he played a barbarian, which in Amp Guard is a character who can go in raid, just kind of crazy every once in a while. He would act as if in raid all the time. He was a priest of the Great Abub, and so I had a cowprint bishop's mitre and robes, and his whole thing was that as we'd start, he'd go running screaming at the enemy, even though they would simply hit him and he'd fall over dead. But after a couple of times, he would actually have the actual enraged skill, which he wouldn't fall over dead the first time you hit him. And so people would get used to smack him once, and then he was in the middle of crowds swinging away and taking people down, and they realized, oh, wait, we have to hit him again. And eventually they'd hit him and he'd fall over. And then I just sit there catching my breath, waiting, because at some point somebody's going to resurrect me, and I just started going at it again. The downside was often I'd start swinging at my own teammates as well, anyone nearby. But lots of running. But even more than that, the one character that I've played periodically, almost the whole time I've done LARP, was a jester bard character by the name of Sithel. He very bright, colorful, incredibly mismatched clothing. I think some folks believe him to be colorblind. And I've played in combat games without a weapon. I had a little wooden flute, the little cheapy deals. I have no actual skill in playing, but in character, it was a magic item, the Flute of Discord. It doesn't matter if you have skill or not, it's going to play terrible. So I would play this terrible flute at people, and they just kind of wander off because I wasn't armed. And more than once, I would stand around and realize that I was the only one left alive, and I won by not doing anything but running around with his flute. He has always been a great character to play, and because he's more a traveling character, I can use him throughout various LARPs, and it just kind of works, which is always a whole lot of fun.
I'd like to see him eventually.
I talk about him. Sithel is one of the few characters that, yes, it was me in the outfit, but Sithel is his own character. I mean, he's got bright yellow giant pants, and I put on the pants, and it's not me anymore. It's Sithel, and I don't know what's going to happen, because, maybe it's a Bruce Banner Hulk sort of thing, that all of a sudden I put on the pants and something else happens. I don't know, where the Hulk, that's all that's left is the pants when he turns green. But, it's definitely a fun character, because it's me, but it's not me. It's somebody else.
Way to let loose.
One of my favorite parts about LARP is having that social cushion of the character. And, I'm kind of introverted sometimes. I get shy around strangers. Okay. And so being in a LARP allows me that cushion of my character, and I can say, hey, that wasn't me that made that social faux pas. That was my character. Nice. And so I take my characters and kind of blow them out of proportion, because I don't have to worry about embarrassing myself. I'm not embarrassing myself. I'm embarrassing my character.
Yeah. They're going to come back and haunt you about that, too.
Yeah.
The characters are all standing around your bed one night, and then you'll realize, man, I shouldn't eat pizza that late. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Stay tuned for more Adventures in LARP. Good evening. Welcome, Adventures in LARP fans. I'm Chris Glover here. Traveled all the way over to Dublin to meet Dean Eaton, who didn't know what he was getting into. Nope. But is a fellow LARPer over on this side of the pond. So, Dean, tell us a little bit. Now, I understand you come from the UK. Yeah, that's right. Even though we're here in Ireland at the moment. Tell me, what kind of LARPs are around here? What kind of LARP goes on?
Okay, in the last couple of years, there's only just been an introduction of rubber sword type LARP. Okay.
So fantasy type LARP. There's two systems that are based in Ireland. There's Iblana, Academy of Iblana, which is organised by another group of players, and then there's the Irish Guild of Live Role Players, which is
Okay.
set up and run by myself, with the assistance of a load of other players. It's not something, running a system is not something you can do on your own.
Right.
So we've a good bunch of hardcore players.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always good. And so you mentioned it's an introduction of more fantasy type LARPs. Are there other?
Yeah, there are. I
Okay.
mean, there's an awful lot of parlour LARPs. So you might know of Werewolf and Vampire
Right,
and all this sort of
right.
thing. So there's plenty of them going around. Not something that I've been hugely involved in. There was a great horror LARP there that I attended last year, which was Midsummer Horror. So it was an overnighter.
Okay.
So it started at close to midnight, went right. Well, actually, it started earlier in the evening, went right way through the night to the morning.
Okay.
And lots of different scenarios, which was actually very good. It was a lot of fun. But like I say, as far as the parlour LARPs, it wouldn't be my biggest bag of fish. I'm much more interested in, the rubber swords LARP
Sure.
and the fantasy LARP.
Sure. And how long have you been doing LARP?
LARPing, okay. So I started when I was 16. I'm now 43. So how many years? That's 27 years.
This is a bunch of
It's a
years,
long, long
right?
time.
Right.
Long, long time. My first experience of LARPing was with a group known as Fools and Heroes.
Okay.
An interesting story that you might be interested in. I made my own costume,
Okay.
and I was playing a cleric, and I thought a nice robe would be good, and I found this material in
Sure.
the shop, and I put it together, and it was this shiny, purpley little number that I
Okay.
put together, and big adventure went on, and being the healer, I was support.
Right.
Following along the party, and if they got into fights, I'd hide myself away to be able to get anyone up if they got injured. All the sensible things. And in one particular encounter, I hid myself behind a gorse bush. And the big bad happened to be walking up the same path that I'd elected to hide in.
Okay.
So what do? You're a hero. So I jumped out with my brand spanking new hammer and clocked him around the head.
Okay.
And it was enough to kill this particular fella. Hugely powerful guy, but very weak when it comes
Sure.
to physical damage. But he wouldn't normally engage in combat.
Okay.
Only for his protector, his guardian, to start chasing after me. So if you can imagine, I don't know if you've ever seen Benny Hill.
Of course.
It's a comedy series in the UK.
Of course. Yes.
Well, the problem with the robe that I made is there was no slit, and it was hugging tight.
I
So
see.
I'm trying to itch this thing up, whilst my
Uh-huh.
legs are doing 90 to the dozen with this fella chasing after me.
Right.
So that was my introduction to LARP, and I learnt a few lessons that day.
Right.
And better costume design was one of them.
I think at one point years back when I purchased my first suit, I went in and it was fitted, and they tried a different coat on, and one particular coat, I was like, the shoulder feels weird. So, well, normally you wouldn't do that in a business setting. It's, yeah, but I need my shield arm. I don't know what to do. It felt weird, but apparently in a business setting you wouldn't need to use your shield. So I suppose that there is that.
Yeah.
But so tell me more about the group that you've got going on here.
Okay, so the Irish Guild of Live Role Players, we've literally had 4 events. It's based on Irish mythology.
Okay.
So we have the Tuatha De Danann, we have Fearboges and Fomorians,
Nice.
and we interweave various Celtic stories. It's fantasy based, so we go off on our own tangents,
Okay.
but we base it as much as we can on Irish folklore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they more weekend long events?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
Yeah, the only events we run, certainly to date, have been Friday to Sunday events. We do everything for the players. I mean, we're such a family friendly club.
Nice.
We
Always
have a minimum age of 12, as long as they're 12 to 15s are accompanied by a parent or guardian. It's something I would have loved to have done at that age.
Right. Right.
We have scout camping type accommodations, and not in tents. We're in bunk beds.
Okay.
And we provide all the food for the weekend, so people can just rock up. And if they've put together a costume, fantastic. If they haven't, we'll try and help them with it.
Excellent.
If they have their own weapons, great. And if they don't, we'll look after them as well.
Right. And so you guys, you mentioned rubber swords. Are you guys using all purchased style offers or build your own or?
Yeah, we've all purchased. Yeah.
Okay.
We've all got decent quality.
Like clemenceau like things or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So with those, when you get to the fighting, are you doing a light touch then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what we have is a 1 hit per second rule.
Okay.
So that people don't drum roll
Right.
hits. And we instruct players to hold their blows. So as they strike, they stop and they give it a light flick. It's not 100% foolproof. You're going to get the odd
no system
heavy
is.
blow.
I bring it up as we've been talking on the show a lot about some of the differences. We've had in the U.S. there are some of the groups that are light touch like that, and then we've got a lot of folks that are the hard, fast, and you wouldn't want to do that with the latex sword.
Oh no.
Because you won't get players coming back.
Yeah.
They'll be injured or turned away from it. But and obviously in the games like that, they're going to do different stuff. But because we've talked a lot about it, that's kind of why I asked to get a handle on things.
Yeah, I mean, for the first few events, we also had head hits being legal. But after a discussion, we decided we wouldn't have head hits. So we've taken that option out. And it's really just to support people with glasses, to avoid any harm in that respect. So, we don't allow thrusts, so we don't have any stab-proof weapons, and we don't allow thrusting, period.
Right.
So that's the safety side of things.
Sure.
We do have bows and arrows and crossbows with LARP-safe bolts.
Okay.
And arrows. And they can be used a lot of the time, but certain occasions when you can't use them at night,
Right.
when in that
Understandable.
So safety is important.
Understandable. Now, how are your games? I'm guessing just from being from my experiences, more of the combat oriented, like going from, or a lot more of the role play oriented, like a planned D&D adventure type deal, or more open. I mean, tell me more.
So we have linear adventures.
Okay.
We basically have 4 adventures during the course of the weekend. We have a Friday night, 2 Saturday adventures, and a Sunday. And the evenings are opportunities for characters to mingle and meet up and chat and discuss business and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So a typical adventure would have about 1/3 of the encounters being combat.
Okay.
And the other 2/3 would be role-play opportunities or puzzles that need to be solved. So a reasonable amount of combat, but not overload. And plenty of opportunity for characters to interact and do what they should be doing, which is the role-play. That's a big part of it.
Right, and I feel the same way. Really, there's kind of a group of an influx of folks that are a little more on the fighting side, and so that's
and they're catered for as well.
Which is we're all about any type of role play is any type of LARP is good LARP, and if that's what you're wanting, then gosh darn it, get out there and do it. I'm ready to swing a sword with you. But so where? What?
18.
Oh,
wow!
So we've gone a little bit over. We're gonna go ahead and pause here, and what we're gonna do, folks, is we're gonna pause here on the show. Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
Pleasure.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just let the camera roll, And the rest of this will be online through Fanservice, fanboytv.com, and see more of us then, and stick around for a little more of the show.
Sláinte.
Hello there. Thank you for coming back to Adventures LARPing. I am Chris Glover with Sean Keys and our special guest for the day, Ann Standiford, and we're doing a little product review today of some specialized LARP equipment. Now, these are Nerf guns. In any sort of fantasy LARP, a lot of pre-gun eras, you wouldn't find this sort of thing. But in any LARP that you can have some weaponry, a lot of folks will use Nerf weapons in order to
battle off their enemies or their fellow friends that are in trouble.
Right, and I am ready for a LARP that involves elephant hunting. See, I've got my hunting paraphernalia on.
Okay.
Or sniping.
So today, that's right. So today we're looking at two particular guns. Both of these are currently available on the market. You don't have to go somewhere special and hope to be able to find one. You can find one at all kinds of Nerf stores. This one's the Retaliator Elite is what it says on the side, and this is the
Mega
Centurion.
Oh, that's right, Centurion.
So
big.
Couple of words about these. This style, yes, this has intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
It's gigantic. I like to keep it at home. If somebody comes, the kids are running through the house, stop running through the house. And then pull out a giant Nerf gun, take out the trash, pull out a giant Nerf gun. And so far, I've gotten the trash taken out, nobody's running around the house, and occasionally I get to shoot a kid, which is great fun. So, tell me something about that when you're looking at the Retaliator. What are you liking on that?
I think I really like that it just feels big and badass.
It does. Look at that.
Let's see.
You gonna shoot at the camera? Now, see, one of the things now you mentioned that you have to load the front into place before you can fire, and that's what a lot of the newer Nerf guns. This is one of the things that I absolutely love about these are the safety features. I mean, yes, it's a Nerf gun. Yes, it's just throwing foam darts around, but it's not like you can get your fingers stuck in the wrong place, and it's not like you can accidentally rip stuff out of the way. It is
I think you could probably get your fingers stuck if you were really determined. Ow!
And there you go,
all right,
class
so
A
we don't
working.
like the barrel on this one.
This one, nope, too big.
Too big. I bet if I shoved enough fingers, though, I could still get them stuck.
Don't give a fetish for anyone else.
Let's moving on here. Some of the big differences between these guns. Obviously, this one's giant, and so it's going to cost more. This is around the $50 range, whereas this one is around the $25 to $30 range. Both of them, as I mentioned, you can find all over the place. Now, I've got some rails and such along both the top and bottom here. I tell you, and just some more rails along these. I love these rails. This is something that Nerf did that is just has been doing for a while with a lot of their guns, which is just absolutely wonderful. Now, the front handle on there can be popped off because it's just on the rail. That particular one, it just slides off. So if you didn't want to use it or it's just in the way and you just want to hold on to the barrel, but at the same time, it's the same size rails on all of the guns. If for some reason you wanted this on the front of this instead of my tripod, it will work, and now I've got it's a whole modular system.
Yeah.
The back end of this one is modular as well.
What you do is you go and push there, and I think you pull. Yep.
So you don't necessarily have to have the big back end,
Nope,
but other guns that have this big back end is the exact same fit, and therefore you are interchangeable even though they're different colors and things. That is one thing that I really like. Now, the other piece to these rails that not necessarily everybody knows is that they are the same size as actual weapons, and therefore if you wanted to get an actual laser sight or scope or something like that, it would fit on your Nerf gun.
Pimp your ride.
That's kind of neat. Now, some of the downsides that I'm seeing about these particular ones. Number one, this one is large. And while that's cool and all, it does take up a lot of space trying to carry it around and do things with it. It is big. It is kind of unwieldy.
It's pretty much you have to make a strap here, and
Well, you've got actually these hooks in
Yeah.
it that you could simply hook a strap to
Yeah,
and
but
be able to carry it. But it is still large. And even though the bullets in this are giant, for those that haven't seen it before,
the mega darts. If you ever
these are big. But even so, you can only get, this is a giant clip, but this is a clip you're only going to get 6 shots out of. So if you're in a group where you can do some extra damage for these, definitely make your shots count. Now this one, if we pull out the clip there, now this one can have quite a few. I believe that's a 12 clip. And then one of the other nice things about Nerf is that it will say 12 on the side, and so you'll know on the clip exactly how much it can carry.
And it shows it right
and the
there.
smaller darts that are more easily available, cheaper all around if you're getting extra darts and refills and things like that.
There we go. One of the little newer ones.
Sure,
Those
and a variety of darts. And that one, that gun can use a wider variety of the darts just fine, which makes it a little more open to use, whereas this one can only use the bigger darts that are specifically Nerf.
Yeah.
Now, when using these at your local LARP, some LARPs, you have to leave it the color that it is. Sometimes that's a legal thing to make sure that somebody's not going to come by and think that you have a real weapon and shoot you. We don't want you shot. But in a lot of LARPs, you are able to decorate it with some exceptions. Generally, the front piece of the barrel should always stay bright orange. And even if your LARP says that you can paint the whole thing, I highly recommend leaving the tip bright orange. That is a signal to law enforcement and things like that that this is a toy, no matter how realistic you get the paint jobs. So definitely a good tip, leave that orange no matter what. But as far as the painting on both of these, they're both the same nice plastic. And so if you are going to paint it and you are going to color it, start with a primer for plastics. Once you get a base coat down that's specifically to hook on and grab hold of plastics, you may even try sanding slightly to make sure that it really grabs hold. At that point, you can use any paints to make it colored however you want it to.
I'm going to add a little caveat here. When you're painting, make sure you don't paint into the grooves of the movable parts.
That is a big deal right there. Now, one thing that I've seen, so yeah, into the grooves and such are how the gun actually works. If you get paint in there, your gun will not work. If you spent $50 on it plus paint and time, you want it to work and you want to be able to do something with it. So definitely mask that off. Well, one thing, another little piece that Nerf does real well is that even though there are a whole lot of screws holding this together, it is real easy once those are removed to carefully open it up and play with the insides. Now, generally, you don't need to do too much with the insides. You don't want to, we're not going to go into modifying your gun, but you can take it apart like that in order to lay out the parts and paint them without worrying about getting some of the insides, and you can get a really good paint job that way if you're going to do that.
And there's some great tutorials on YouTube all about how to mod up your gun. But I would say definitely check with your LARP, because there's some mods that LARPs allow and there's some mods that they don't allow.
Right.
I know the LARP that some of us play, Planetfall, will allow you to take out the regulator but not to modify the spring. So essentially your gun can shoot a little bit better, but not so good that if you hit someone in the eye it might cause terrible damage and need
Always
surgery.
check with your local groups before you with your ideas before you go too crazy, because you want to make sure what you can do or not. So both of these, I really like both of these. They get bonuses for me. What do you guys think?
I think that I think depending on what you wanted with your character. If you wanted a character that's more mobile, that can run around easily, I think the Retaliator would be great.